Shalom. I want to start off by giving all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahawadah, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And shalom to all the Akim out there. Continue to push this thing of ours in truth and sincerity. I'm the brother Manatazach, and I just want to share a quick testimony that I had the other night regarding the war in heaven and the deliverance of the elect. To start off, this vision I had was very intense. I woke up in a cold sweat, and I had a migraine. Usually when I have dreams and visions, I don't normally wake up, go to sleep, and go right back into the same dream. That's what helped me to understand that this was something serious, because I woke up 2 or 3 times during this vision, and I jumped right back into the same scene, the same scenario. Now, I've only been in the truth for a couple years, and at least once a year I'll have a very intense vision like this. And at first I wasn't going to share this openly, because I don't want brothers to think I'm trying to exhort myself or try to big myself up. I'm trying to be very careful in this thing of ours, because I realize how important, how serious this is. So I'm just trying to stay in my lane, basically do what I can to help the Akim and help push this truth. But it wasn't until getting some advice from the elder brother Manatazach, and also staying in deep in prayer, that I realized that sharing this testimony will be the best way to help further this truth, because dealing with the things that we deal with on a daily basis, and trying to fight this fight, sometimes we need words of exhortation and words of hope. So Lord willing, this short testimony can be that to the sincere Akim and Akwathium out there that are continuing to push this word, this sound doctrine. Okay, so without further ado, to jump right into it, basically, it started off that we were all on a beach. And when I say we, I mean mainly the different camps, Great Millstone. The different camps from Chicago were all there, Dallas, the GMS Los Angeles camp, Mississippi. We were all at a resort. Back in the world, I used to travel a lot to like Cancun, different places in Mexico. And this is what it reminded me of, white sand beaches, tropical blue water, a nice resort. We were all there. And all of a sudden, we looked up in the sky and we started seeing chariots. Now, being out here in Los Angeles, chariots show up quite often, at least every other week. On my channel, I've uploaded some videos of chariots showing up. And when they showed up in my vision, they looked exactly like they do on the video, just bright lights in the sky. But as more and more Akim started to look up in the sky and notice the chariots, they started to be more and more frequent. They started to show up and get closer. And they all had different designs. The best way I could explain it is, it can't really put into words, but when you see movies like Independence Day and War of the Worlds, they looked exactly like that as far as mechanical wise, but there seemed to be life with them, like they had a personality of their own, like they were alive. That's the best way that I could put it. They didn't seem like just normal machines or vehicles. There was a very high intensity to them, almost an intelligence, and there were different designs. They were in formation, and it was a very intense feeling to look up and see them. Even though being in the truth, we know that Yahawadah is coming back, with the angels and with the chariots, but to see them up close, it was very intimidating. And there were other people at the resort as well, and they were freaking out, crying and asking what was going on. But a lot of the Akim were just giving all praises to Yahawadah Shem Yahushai, saying Kwam Yasharallah. But all of a sudden, the military showed up, or the Air Force rather. They started to try to shoot down the chariots, but the chariots don't move with the same laws and physics that a normal aircraft would. They defy the laws of gravity, the laws of physics, and they alter reality. It's the best way I could put it, because a lot of the missiles would just phase through the chariots and hit opposing U.S. forces. A lot of them would just disappear right before they hit a chariot. The chariots would disappear and reappear. Just the type of things that they did, defied reality, and it was a crazy sight to see. The whole heavens were full of this battle, and even Esau and his technology, he was bringing out ships and different jet fighters that looked like chariots, but they weren't. I mean, you could tell the difference, like almost as if they were trying to imitate the technology of the Most High. Because I know that they have these telescopes and these satellites, and they see these chariots all the time, and they always put what they see, in my opinion, in these movies, as far as like Independence Day and these different kind of alien invasion movies. I think that they put in these movies what they see in the heavens, because that's exactly what the chariots look like in this particular vision of mine, But it was the battle didn't last long. I mean, looking up, the whole sky was full of this battle, but it was over like in a matter of seconds. I mean, that's what it seemed like, because these Esau and his technology have no chance against the chariots. When they would fire their lasers from the ships, and they would hit these different jet fighters, they would dissolve from the outside in. There'd be no shrapnel, no wreckage that would fall down to the sky. It's like they would get hit in midair and just dissolve before they hit anything. It was unreal. And looking up, a lot of us Akim were frightened, myself included, because at that exact moment, the chariot starts shooting down at the people on the resort. And when these lasers hit the people, they would literally disintegrate, and their clothes would burst into flames, almost as if they were being, instantaneously dehydrated. They would just burst into like a cloud of like pink dust, and you would look down and you would see it would look like a pile of like Himalayan salt, like pink Himalayan salt was all that was left of them, and it would slowly dissolve. And these golden rays of energy would be firing down from the sky and hitting these people, and we start running. So I heard one of the Akim say, "We got to get to the room. We got to get to the room." So everybody took off running in the direction of the resort, and all the while, these lasers are firing down on these people and completely incinerating them. And I didn't realize until later, after deep thought and really trying to analyze this dream, that the chariots were firing at these people, making a way for us to get to the resort, because it was all chaos, it was all hectic. But during the dream, I was scared, because there was people right next to me being incinerated, and like these pink bursts of just dust and salt would just hit me. I could feel the heat from the lasers, from their bodies just exploding, from the fire from their clothes. It almost seemed like the atmosphere was on fire. It was very intense. And one particular brother from the camp, Yahawadah, he was running directly in front of me, and as we were running, I could feel myself getting tired, and I kept wanting to stop. Like I kept telling myself that I'm not gonna make it. I need to stop. I need to catch my breath. And through the spirit, this brother kept saying, "Hey, what are you doing, man? We got to keep going. We got to keep moving. Let's go. Let's go." And I remember almost arguing with him, like, "Man, I'm tired. Like, let me just catch my breath." And he's like, "No, we got to keep going. We got to keep going." So I felt myself dig down, keep running. And somehow, me and the brother made it back to the room. And as we went to the room, there was a large number 5 on the door, and I remember knocking on the door, and one of the brothers from the camp, Danyala, opened the door, and he was dressed in all white. And as soon as he opened the door, he saw me and Yahawadah, and he started, jumping up and down like, yeah, you guys made it. So we did the salute. He let us in the door, and all the while, people are still getting zapped by these chariots. So people saw that the countenance on us was different, I guess, because when they looked at us and saw us celebrating, they knew that they needed to get where we were. So a group of people tried to run into the room, like, we got to get where they are. We got to go to this room. Like, we got to go with those guys. And I remember Don Yalo looking out at them and saying, hey, if you can get in, then you can get in. But nobody could get through the door. The door was wide open, but it was like something was blocking them from getting in. And all the while, they were getting blasted by these lasers right in front of the door. And the door just closed by itself. It shut and it locked. And we can hear people screaming outside the room. And I remember looking across the room and seeing particular brothers from the camp. You know, Manatazach was there, Barak, Dama'ah, Micah Allah, Zion, and they were all holding their Bibles and saying the Shema prayer in Hebrew. And it was just, it was a very intense, very scary feeling, because even though I was with the brothers, I could still hear the people outside of the room, you know, dying in agony. And before long, you know, the firing stopped, and we looked out onto the balcony, and Manatazach told us to all step out onto the balcony. And when we did, we saw these different, I want to call them shuttlecrafts, coming towards the balcony. Remember, we're on the 5th floor. So as we all stepped onto the balcony, we went onto these shuttlecrafts 2 by 2, okay? And the shuttlecrafts would slowly lift us up into the air. And as we looked up, the sky was completely covered. It almost looked like it was pitch black, except there were hundreds of these bright golden circles underneath the craft, and every shuttlecraft was going up into these. So I was with the brother Yalad in one of these shuttlecraft, and as we went up into this massive ship, we all met inside in what looked like a big, I want to say, amphitheater. I don't know if brothers ever went to see any plays or any shows like that in Vegas, but it looked like the lobby of one of those, where it was just, there were chandeliers, there were lamps, there were large stones that were glowing. There were chairs encircling the room, and the large windows looking down onto the resort. As we went up into these craft, into this big craft, a lot of the brothers from the different camps were all there. You know, we were all saying Kwam Yasharallah, saying the salute, you know, giving all praises. And I noticed a feeling of relief almost. But then I looked and saw that opposite the room, this amphitheater that we were all in was full of nothing but IUIC members. Okay, they were all in their purple and gold. You know, I saw Nate, I saw Yahawadah, you know, I saw all these different IUIC figures, and they was all in their you know, their regalia with the bracers and, you know, the combat boots and all that. And I noticed that they had these proud looks on their face as they stared across at us. You know, they were saying, yeah, we made it. We told you, we knew it. You know, they were doing cartwheels and just jumping up and just, you know, they were bragging, you know. And all of a sudden, a group of angels came. I mean, they weren't glowing. They didn't have wings, but I knew they were angels because they were tall. They had real stoic looks on their faces, you know. They came and they separated us into groups, but they kept the members of IUIC on one side of the amphitheater, and they were led down a hallway with glowing red lights. And they all went in. They were marching, but then they started getting quiet. They started getting really quiet as they started looking around, asking questions. And the further and further they went down this tunnel with the red lights, you could see the look on their faces, like they didn't know what was going on. They were unsure of themselves all of a sudden. And before any of them could ask any questions or before anything could be explained, a metal door shut on all of them. You know, and all of the rest of the Akim were looking at each other like, oh, what's going on? Like, what was that about? But before we can ask any questions, we were all separated into groups. And we were led down 12 different hallways, and each of the hallways had the stone of our particular tribe, and you know, it was written in Hebrew, and the hallways were glowing, and we were all divided by our particular tribes down these hallways. And I remember walking single file down the hallway of Judah, Yahawadah, And at the end of the tunnel was a bright light. And as I approached the light, I could feel my heart racing, just excitement, anxiety. And as soon as I entered the light, I woke up. And when I woke up, I jumped out of bed, like almost as if I was trying to catch my breath, like I was falling from a high, from like when you're on a roller coaster and you go down that big dip and you kind of lose your breath. That's exactly what it felt like. And I looked down and I noticed that I was in a cold sweat, but my sheets were completely soaked, full of sweat, and I had a massive migraine, and that's when I knew that this was most likely a vision. Now the specifics of it, I can't say if that's exactly how it's going to happen, but I knew that this was something important, so I shared it with the head of the camp, and through prayer and through much thought, I'm now sharing it with you, Akim. So I'm saying all that just to say that, even though, the times are tearing, a lot of things are happening through the Spirit. As Apostle DeHart coined, this is the year of prophecy, and things are moving. We're not even through the end of the year yet, and observatories are shutting down, stores are continuing to close, the mark of the beast is still being pushed, and the men of the Lord are still on the streets, preaching and teaching, week in and week out. So I say that just to say that no matter how hard it looks or how hard it gets, continue to fight for this thing, okay? Because this is all that we have. And, through the Spirit, even when I wanted to give up, I had the Akim there to continue to push me to keep going, to keep fighting. And Lord willing, that's what this video can do for any Akim that are feeling weak or that just need a boost in faith, okay? This is the brother Manatazach. From GMS Ancient of Days in Los Angeles, and I just want to say, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahweh Shai, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahweh Shai, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahweh Shai, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that continue to rule well and lead the sheep in the right direction through the spirit and power of Yahawadah Shem Yahweh Shai, and shalom to all the Akim out there. Continue to push and continue to fight because we're almost out of here. Shalom.